a father figure, cause I never had one. My fucking dad left before I even turned one. And my stepdad, he wasn't much better. He treated my mom like shit. Yeah, he never fucking cared for her. Just laid down all day watching TV, caring about no one. Sitting on his ass watching Little House on the Prairie reruns. This fucking faggot didn't teach me how to do shit. I was in 3rd grade, couldn't ride a bike yet. My dad never took the time, and my mom didn't have enough of it. My mom finally said she was sick of this shit, so we drove about 6 hours down to Florida. And I distinctly remember the day we arrived, almost midnight. I could barely walk from the almost non-stop 6-hour drive, so walked in the house with my aunt and my cousins. Greeted all of them with hello and hugs, and I felt some happiness in my heart. But not 2 weeks later, the feeling of happiness was gonna turn to hurt, and that the feeling of misery was gonna begin to start. All through elementary, I was fucking rejected. Sometimes people would act like my friend, but then they fucking leave so they can hang out with my cousin. Jealousy, it swept over me. I began to hate my cousin, my only friend in my family. But then my mom, she met a guy, a friend of her friend. I think they chatted online, but he drive the 6 hours just to fucking see her. For the first time in my life, I had a father figure. He actually showed me things, wasn't attached to the TV. Yeah, he actually showed me things that he hated. Little House on the Prairie. So now every year later, we moved in with him. We had to drive the 6 hours again, but I actually had fun this time, knowing that the outcome would be different this time. So when we arrived, I was the happiest I could be. I couldn't wait to move into the new house with my new family in the small town that no one would know unless they lived down here. I thought it was a heaven, then my heaven turned to hell again. I was bullied so bad, everyone at school thought that I was a fag. But in 7th grade, I met some dudes, the coolest fucking dudes I ever knew. We hung out all the time, my fucking crew, and they still are to this day. Then my life flipped around, and I finally found some happiness in this little town. All the bullying simmered down, the depression simmered down. I was above cloud 9, I was fucking spacebound. And then as I got older, I began to mature. Everyone, society began to get on my nerves. Then I met a girl that eventually became a world. But then 2 years later, the same exact girl went and stabbed me in the back. My heart had hardened, thought that I would never find love again, but I did. 2 years later in the 10th grade. And around that same time in the 8th grade, I began to play the piano every fucking day, and I wrote my own lyrics on composition college rule while the teacher was teaching in the middle of school. Then a year later I picked up a guitar. Then people began to tell me that I would go far, but I didn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to go far. I didn't care if I grew up and became a rock star. Maybe my whole life I wanted to play small bars and then sit outside looking at all the stars and remember the long 6-hour drives in the packed car. But then my mom, she met a guy, a friend of her friend. I think they chatted online, but she yeah, woo, go Aubrey.